Hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, welcome back to another episode of In the Eyes of Truth. Today we have back with us Paul Goncharoff, American-born businessman extraordinaire, capitalist, the epitome of world capitalism, far traveler, adventurer, Afrikaner, well, adopted Afrikaner. At his own time. For those who don't know him, but if you've been following us, you've seen Paul several times, so you've heard him speak. And ethnic Russian.
Hey there, entrepreneurs. Are you feeling the squeeze from increasing regulations and higher taxes? Maybe you've noticed the growing instability and thought there has to be a better way. Well, you're not alone, and that's exactly why you need to consider offshoring your wealth now. Imagine a life where your hard-earned money isn't constantly under threat from unpredictable government policies. Sounds pretty good, right? Let me tell you. It's not just a dream, it's a smart strategy. Here at Exit Strategy, we specialize in helping entrepreneurs like you protect and grow their wealth. We navigate the complex world of international finance so you don't have to, from setting up offshore accounts to advising on the best countries with favorable tax laws. We've got you covered. Now, I know what you're thinking. Offshoring sounds risky, maybe even a bit shady, but the truth is many savvy business owners are already doing it. It's not just about dodging taxes, it's about creating a safety net for your future. Imagine diversifying your assets across multiple jurisdictions. When one country faces economic downturns, your wealth remains secure. Think of it as an insurance policy against the uncertainties of life. And let's not forget, having a portion of your wealth offshore can open up opportunities for international investments. You're no longer limited by the economic climate of a single country. You can tap into booming markets around the world, maximizing your returns. But here's the kicker. Time is of the essence. With increasing global scrutiny and tightening regulations, the window for easy offshoring is closing fast. The sooner you act, the better positioned you'll be. So why wait? Protect your wealth, secure your future, and explore new opportunities with Exit Strategy. Don't let the rising dangers in the US economy catch you off guard. Reach out to us today and take the first step towards financial freedom. Because when it comes to your wealth, playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. Thanks for watching, and remember, your future starts with the decisions you make today. Choose wisely, choose Exit Strategy. Catch you in the next video.
From New York.
And still a smoker.
And still a smoker. That is so on PC. Jeez. You're not woke
Oh,
enough.
yeah.
Get rid of smoke. You should be
God
huffing on
bless
something
him.
that has at least a battery somewhere in it.
Yeah, and support China.
I support, yeah. Well, about everything supports China. By the way, there's Chinese tobacco in those cigarettes.
I hope
There are,
so.
even interestingly enough, I served with a guy. He was also a captain, and he was on the side finishing his master's degree in tobacco agriculture. Now, this is back in the late 90s, right?
Mhm.
He was finishing his degree in tobacco agriculture, then went down to South America, quit the army, went down to South America, managed two tobacco plantations, lived on the lived in the big White House. I'm not sure
Yeah.
which company he was working for, but the interesting what he's told me back in the late 90s, in American cigarettes, American tobacco is like 20-30% of the filler. That's it for taste. I don't smoke cigarettes, so I don't know about the taste. But he said the rest of it was either Chinese, Indonesian, whatever cheap
Well,
crap
that's
they
the
could
way
buy.
it is now. The cost of American tobacco that's from the Carolinas is just prohibitive.
Well, you know why that is.
Well, I
Do you
can
know how
imagine.
it's absolute socialism? Tobacco in America is raised with under an absolute socialist controlled system. Okay, so the only way you can raise tobacco is if you have tobacco credits. The only way you have tobacco credits is if your great grandfather raised tobacco. So, whatever amount of acreage your great grandfather raised for tobacco, that's the credits that's behind your family, right? And then the government allows you only a certain percentage of those credits. So what most of the farmers do is what you're allowed to do though every year
To
is to rent
sell
those
or
credits,
lease the credits, no?
right, to a big
Yeah,
corporation,
yeah,
right?
co-op.
So you're allowed to maybe raise you have 100 acres of credits. You're only allowed to raise 20% this year. So you only
Yeah,
have 20 acres worth. It's not for a lot of farmers, it may not be enough. Especially small farmers, and it won't be 20 acres, maybe like 5 acres, four
yeah.
acres. And they wind up renting them out, leasing them out to a large co-op. And it's absolute socialist control. And nobody
Yeah.
in nobody in America knows that because it's not advertised.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. The world's full of wonders.
There's your pure capitalist system.
Yeah. So, so we've had fun with
Yeah.
Zelensky and Trump.
Okay,
You know something.
set up or not set up?
I heard an odd one. It seems that on the 17th of the month, February, uh, Zelensky had a meeting with Starmer,
Yeah.
and they signed a 100-year agreement
Oh,
with
it
the
was earlier than
UK.
that. It was,
No, it's called 100 years,
no. It was in January. I think they signed it.
January 17th.
Yeah, yeah.
In any event, there was an open or a public document that came out, and there was a part of the document that was not made public, and it was sub rosa. Apparently, in the sub rosa, it gives all the mineral rights to the UK, the same ones we were talking about in the so-called great the Great Deal, right? And little birdie tells me that Donald J. Trump and his command found out the details of the sub rosa part of the agreement, and that they were a little bit,
Peeved.
they got a little bit put out that
Nicely
they're
put.
signing the same thing and the same properties to do different groups.
Wait, this
So
is the whole way. It's probably already been resold 5 times before that.
yeah, exactly. But as a guy from the mining and metals business, where I began, uh, I look at the geographic analysis of what are the deposits, the mineralized deposits in Ukraine. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And more important, it's not the deposits, not the ore we care about. It's the levels of processing that's required. And that's zero. There's nothing on the ground there. They can dig up all the ore they want, probably have to ship it to China to have it processed.
China has the monopoly on rare earth processing.
Well, even if it went to the States, we don't have in the United States the capacity to make all the different wonderful extracted elements that are contained in the ore.
Yep.
It
Yep.
takes billions and years to build up that infrastructure.
It's true because if you look at, for example, iron, I did a project in 21 in Poltava until they found out I was Russian. For a month, I came on a U.S. passport, so then they found out later I was Russian. Said told the project manager, the project director, that I shouldn't come back. He's like, "He's my best consultant." Like, I don't care. His culture doesn't fit into our culture.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
freaking
there
Russians,
you
you morons. But okay, that's a different thing.
go. Yogurt will be yogurt.
Yes, yeah. Whether you add
Yeah.
raspberries or blueberries,
Yeah.
but Poltava, if you look at the metallurgy industry in Ukraine, it's pretty much so dead up to the raw processing. Because they'll bring out the chunks of material out of whatever mine or open shaft that they're using, open cauldron. But you want to get the iron out because you're not gonna shipping rocks pointless. So
You got
the
to crush
gawk,
it. You got to
yeah,
sort it. Yeah.
the plant, the ore enrichment plant worked, but then all the ore went south to the Black Sea, and out it goes. But that's already purified ore. It's not smelted, but it's purified.
Well, it's a degree of greater complexity and technology to
Oh,
do that
absolutely.
with any of the rare earth metals.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So
And
anyway,
you're
so
absolutely
I
right.
can I thoroughly understand why their knickers were in a twist in the White House. You
But
know,
this whole thing, though, I think Trump set it up on purpose because it totally unties his hands.
Uh, well, which is really the way to be. But what it does do, though, is it totally ties up the Europeans' hands. Now they've got to either put up or shut up, and
And
I think
and
they're gonna go down kicking and screaming because
yep,
politically they can't take the hit.
no, they can't. No,
Yeah.
no, they can't. Well, I mean, look at what do you think is going to happen in Romania?
Well, I think the protests on the streets tell their own story. Democracy is being canceled, has been canceled. And I think that, given the history of Eastern European countries, and yeah, they did come under a great deal of pressure during the Soviet times. They did. And for them, this breadth of democracy done in their own cultural style was something to look to support, and it works well. Look at Hungary, individually, these Eastern European countries are doing well. They're not doing so well under the Brussels bureaucracy because that's a one size fits all utopian communism run by bureaucrats. Right?
They prefer
So you
technocrats
have
these days.
stars like Orban out there.
Yeah.
And Romania, they're going through a major civil disturbance right now. Where is their sovereign? Where is their
Yeah.
sovereignty? Uh, so we'll see.
Well, the
If the
interesting
man
thing
who
is
wins
though
the
the
won the popular vote
Mhm. Oh
isn't
yeah,
is being tossed in jail.
with no charge, no real charges.
Yeah. Well, they let him out. They put him back in. Poor
They,
guy.
they canceled him from the next elections that he was going to win anyways too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if that's the brand of democracy that the EU wants to push, they're going to have sooner or later real blowback among the populations of the various member states of the EU. And I don't see the EU as a Brussels run bureaucracy lasting for much longer,
Yeah.
neither economically or politically.
Oh, but they'll go down swinging,
Oh yeah.
and grabbing everything and everyone they can with them.
Yeah. Just wait till the Euro army comes out. Yeah,
Well, you laugh at it, but
well,
realistically speaking, even the Bundestag, I'm sorry, Bundeswehr,
mhm,
and the pathetic form that it is now, it let's look at it realistically in that it has a very large reserve of officers and NCOs they can call up,
yeah.
and the ranks can be filled with green soldiers that sure a very large percentage of them will die off on the first contacts in combat, but the ones that survive will get
They'll be
experience.
proven vets, sure.
Yeah,
But that's
and
not
then
in 6 months. That's not
oh,
in 8, 9 months.
you could
It
do it in
takes
a
it takes time.
well.
Because
If this is
even if they're proven officers that are in reserve now, by the time they put a command together and have it working smoothly, that does take time.
smoothly, we're not. If we're looking if you need a fast army, they can put one up in less than a year. Believe me, they
Well,
can put that up. Again, how many casualties you're willing to swallow right off the bat?
well,
That's the big question. But if the politicians
well,
need it and they need to shut their
by
people
the time
down,
the Bundeswehr gets it together, they have the guarantee that Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania will send their hordes of armed forces to defend them, buy
eh,
them time.
well, there's 250,000 Poles between them, so that's a little bit of time.
Well, I think the Poles have more between the ears than than the Chihuahuas. I think they'll stay to the side. But anyway,
I
that's all
hope.
speculation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all speculation till the bullets start flying.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Zelensky's not backing down. He's not going to apologize.
Well, what's he gonna do? You know, he's chosen his position. I don't see him surviving it. Uh, I really don't. I don't see how he gets out of it alive.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think everybody around him right now, you know, interesting thing, Yermak, who also normally wears the same uh, North Korean pajamas, upscale North Korean Viet Cong. I'm sorry, North Korean. No offense to North Koreans.
Mm,
Upscale Viet Cong pajamas. Uh, that's what I want to say. Viet Cong
yeah.
pajamas, branded. Your mock even got the message and came in a suit. That's why you don't notice him right off the bat. You have to actually look at the guys in the suits. He's not in the jumpsuit pajamas. And this guy, he doesn't get it. He's so
No, he's leaves something to be desired, to put it mildly. Yeah.
think he's an actor who believed his role a little too much.
Well, this is the thing, you know, you never know. Look, I'm sure the guy has his own moments of sincerity. Uh, I have a feeling because of, you know, if we look back at the history, uh, he started out rather well, you know, back in 2019, et cetera, that, you know, his purpose is going to be for a ceasefire on the civil war in the Donbass. And he said all the right things until he didn't. And he did a
Right.
180-degree turn.
But that didn't take long, did it?
No, it didn't. So I'm wondering what inducements or what pressures the guy was under. And once you give in to an inducement or pressure, you buy it. You know, you swallow it hook, line, and sinker, and it becomes your soul, right or wrong. You know, so to get him to back off now, I think is a pipe dream.
Well, Paul,
Also, no pun intended.
look, his backer, the guy that put him into power, who he just put in jail, by the way, was Kolomovsky.
Mm,
Kolomovsky created the Żydobanderovцы.
mm,
And he was as an Israeli dual citizen. Kolomovsky was the main sponsor of the SS Azov, the
mm.
Nazi Azov battalion. Well, was a battalion, is a regiment now. Uh, I mean, where was Zelensky gonna go with that kind of sponsor?
Well, more interesting is what was whispered to him if he didn't go with them.
Yeah,
Mm.
about the same result he's gonna get probably any time now.
That's just what I'm saying. I don't think that it's not going to be a happy ending here.
It never is, not for that
Mm.
type. But who do you think is gonna come next? There's plenty of sharks.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be Zelensky. No, it'll be someone out from, you know, like a Guaido in in Venezuela.
Uh,
Someone bought, paid for, and who can tell the
Poroshenko?
Ukrainian people, said, "Look, you put me in, the funds will still keep coming. You know, your government pensions will be paid." It's something very practical. How long that'll last, that's anyone's guess.
I think Poroshenko fits that bill, or Timoshenko. Well, Timoshenko probably not, but Poroshenko will probably fit that bill.
Yeah,
The
well,
Euros
people
loved
have very
him.
short memories in the West of what good Poroshenko did them.
Oh, he did lots of good to the Euros. He didn't do
Yeah,
too much good for the Ukrainians, but he did lots of good for the Euros.
yeah. Well, that gets a bit boring. Maybe they need someone fresh.
Yeah. Hey, you, come here. I got a deal for you.
Yeah.
So, what do you think Trump's going to do now?
Well, we've got a
Besides feed
big
Europe
day.
weapons.
I'm on pins and needles, waiting to see how serious tomorrow's unveiling of the new tariffs are going to be.
Mhm.
Canada, Mexico.
Europe.
China looks like that's going to come in at 20% across the board. 10% plus the 10% out there. Canada, look, they're leaving the oil and gas alone. I think they're putting, well, alone, 10%. That's leaving it alone
Yeah.
when you're looking at 25. Look, both Canada and Mexico did go part of the way in trying to secure the border. They just don't have the manpower or the infrastructure to really seal the damn thing off. But they're trying. So I think it'll be rather unfair of Trump to say, okay, well, you didn't do it. Here's a gift for you.
Well,
Yeah.
if you think Canada, literally, I mean, Canada doesn't exactly have hordes of Canadians trying to run away to America, but it's got
Uh,
people flying into Canada coming down to the U.S. They can
uh,
always control who enters Canada. And it's easier for them. Mexico's
oh,
a,
yeah.
but Hegseth threatened military action intervention into Canada.
Mexico.
I mean, I'm saying Mexico.
Yeah.
Panchavila Wars 2.0.
Well, look,
Oh,
what's happening now is that the Pax Americana is coming under the microscope. And because, look, I was born in America and raised in America, much like you.
I wasn't born in
Yeah,
America.
I know. Okay, well, details, right? The thing is that I grew up with this. It's in my blood, and for me to see so much truth so quickly and in such a concentration puked out into the media space, it really does make you think, what have I been swallowing for most of my life? Yeah. And it's soul destroying. It is.
Maybe it's so liberating. You're just now getting rid
Well,
of
it's
that
liberating, but
extra
it's also,
fat and grease and it's going down to the muscle, lean muscle.
yeah. But when I first came to the Soviet Union, right?
That's
I
right.
was
That
I
was
was I was
79, I
hold
think.
yeah, no, 76.
76. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was still
So I
living in
mean, I was
Soviet
I was
Union in
holding
76.
I was definitely holding the Cold Warrior flag that we're bringing, the good news to the Soviets, and here's a better way, a more fun way to live with all the jeans and the Marlboros that you can smoke, right? Well, very materialistic. It's not socially relevant, and it did serve uh, to striate the society, the Soviet man's or the Soviet city dwellers' view of themselves. Who has access, who does not. That already was the stratification that began.
Yep.
So any access to the West was you were royalty.
Yep. Yep.
Right? Today, it's more like America. How much money you've got, how much stuff you have, property, vehicles, that sort of thing. So what it took America 200 years to go through, Russia had a concentrated period of 20, 30, 40 years, right? And
Well,
that has its blowback. It has its effect. But
but there's a little difference. There's a caveat there. Russia was the same thing as America, plus the Orthodox spirituality up to 1917, 1918. Well, parts of it to 1920. And then it went into, for 70 years, into a
so
very different direction.
the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. But whatever whatever it is, it's a period of, no matter where you look in the world now, the spark uh, of the Ukraine
Hmm.
started fires globally.
Yes, it has.
The sanctions, all of the all of these extreme moves of canceling SWIFT, doubt of the dollar, deservedly, incredible debts that are piled up, derivative debts. And this is all forcing people to look at what they were comfortably accepting of all their lives.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, you see how fragile a house of cards it really is.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
growing up in the States, I couldn't imagine any country that could go toe to toe with the US militarily. I mean, I just never saw a Hollywood movie that showed that. Right?
Yeah, Hollywood history is an entity all on its own.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And it's very effective. I think we talked about it before. It really is self hypnosis.
Oh, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
Subliminal programming.
I mean, come on. Hollywood even rewrote the history of Enigma. Apparently, it was an American special operations team that got Enigma off of a German submarine, not a
There
gay
you go.
British guy that broke Enigma sitting in an office, in 1941 or so. Whoops.
Well, there you go. These
That
are
is
details.
exciting.
But what's more fun to believe?
Yeah.
So that's where it is. What's more fun? So it's news. It's news as entertainment now. Because every day I tune into MSNBC, Fox, CNN. I mean, look, this is I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it less and less because I'm hearing a bunch of opinionated talking heads that are not giving me the news.
Yep.
It's I'm getting opinions. Yeah, where's Walter Cronkite where we need him?
His type are long, long gone.
Yeah,
CNN killed Walter Cronkite.
yeah.
Uh, my wife a couple of years ago, she asked me before all of this started, by the way,
Mhm.
like, why do you still listen to U.S. News? We left. I'm like, sweetheart, I listen to U.S. News for comedy relief. You know, it's just it's not even to confirm my choices. It's just pure comedy at this point. Now
Well,
it's yeah, it's well now it's professionally I have to listen to it.
well, there you have it. And the thing is okay, you have your program. I work with Russia Pivot to Asia. So we're in the news sphere no matter what. Right? We're not, I'm not a journalist, but as a businessman, I have to keep up with it. So it's absolutely essential. I have to, I force myself to look at and read the trash as well as raw data when and where I could find it. And then you read between the lines like they did in the Soviet times. The truth will out.
One second, Paul.
Yeah.
1 second. So, anyways, yeah, yeah, you're right. What do you think Trump's okay, so yes, there are
You're
lots.
asking me, what do I think Trump will do next? Who the hell knows?
That's a good point. That's why I
Yeah.
stopped. I stopped to
Wow.
put a frame around this question.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of card readers right now that are trying to predict what will Trump do
Well,
next. Staring
we're
cards are
we're in the
burning.
middle of the reality show now. We're not getting out of it until the commercial break.
Hopefully, the commercial break doesn't come with a very bright light flash and a
Oh yeah.
thundering sound.
You joke.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
black humor, it's gallows
Yeah.
humor. But okay, so we understand there's a lot less mineral wealth in Ukraine. I don't think there's none. Maybe $1 trillion worth spread all over the place, not the 15, 20 trillion that they were talking about. Okay, maybe less than a trillion. The majority of it seems to be, at least for the rare minerals, already within the Russian borders.
Yeah.
Now, plus Russia has plenty throughout Russia as it is.
Yeah.
China just happens to be the majority of the processing. What do you think Trump's interests are toward economic cooperation with Russia?
Well, look, today in the White House, Um, Not a secret. Command was already given to the Department of Commerce and Justice. What sanctions can be freed up against Russia?
Really?
What can be dropped?
That's
So
interesting.
the list is apparently supposed to be out by Wednesday.
Wow, that's fast for
Well,
Washington.
that's for the internal. This is all ammo for chat, chat, chat. The U.S., the nightmare of the whole Wolfowitz doctrine was that, and it was never seen to be actual, was for Russia and China to become best buddies. Right?
And here
But
we go.
you have the three players, the three blocks. It is the U.S., Russia, China, arguably India as well. Right? And everything else is spheres of influence, as much
Yep.
as
Yeah.
it's not politically correct to say it, it is. It is what it is. Um, I don't think America has hope in hell of prying daylight between the relationship with China and Russia.
Yep.
It's that train has left the station. But some pragmatism and deal making can be done that is of mutual benefit. Let's talk about rare earth metals. Let's talk about perhaps America coming to Russia and saying, let's joint venture on greenfield projects for lithium, for example.
Hmm.
And we'll process the stuff because it's way too expensive to start from scratch. We'll process it in China. Let's rethink the formulation of trade. It's happening anyway.
Yep. Yep.
It's a question of who is willing to ease up on the reins. Right? America likes total control. They've grown used to it. And
That's
that train
expensive.
has left the station as well.
Total control is
So here we are.
expensive.
We have to suffer like I've been suffering when I realized that Rambo isn't the hero of the world in reality. You know,
You mean he really didn't shoot down a Russian helicopter with a
he really
RPG?
didn't. And his six shooter spitting out 18 rounds and just doesn't happen in reality.
So the Viet Cong really doesn't run up in nice little straight lines on the edge of the river to be gunned down. Here I
Yeah,
am. You missed me.
yeah. Well, yeah. So there we are. No, our whole way of life is this. Look, the changes that we're seeing now will be felt for hundreds of years. This is really a seminal change on the power structure of our planet.
Yep.
And there will be emerging and declining power blocks. And who knows? Look, America didn't make too many friends in Latin America, which is right next door.
That's an
And I don't
understatement.
think they're making friends and influencing people today in Canada and in Mexico. And I think, look, America's got a great future and potential if it can just get down to doing business. I think Trump does have that, has the right idea to get the politicking out of it. Right? Do it as a business. I mean,
Yeah.
America's business is business, always has been. We should remember that instead of going out to evangelize the world. And
Well,
so,
America really went off the rails under Woodrow Wilson and his interventionalism, liberal interventionism.
well, whatever it is causes. Here we are. We're dealing with the effects, and that's another paradigm.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to 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 come to terms with that. This is
Yep.
not an easy path for Washington,
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
because none of it is reelectable. Right? If you're going to please all the people all the time, you're going to please no one.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
And
And I
total
see an
control is
advantage in
expensive.
Trump is that he sees that.
Yeah. Total control is very expensive. So,
So there you have it. As far as what Europe is a wild card because it's not going anywhere fast.
well, it's going somewhere fast.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just,
yeah, but unless they also restructure their own perceptions, their self-perception, and what is their vision of the future? Are they going to be all green, right? Well, look, this has been the reality in Germany, the Grüne Party and all that. And look at what happens in Romania, very similar, although not as extreme, is in Germany with against the AfD.
oh, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
If they could shut down the Alternative for Deutschland, they would.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As far as what happens in the UK, just take a look at the resurgence of the Reform Party under Farage. He's just kicking Labour's ass left, right, and center.
Mhm.
And conservatives aren't even a factor.
Oh, they gave up the plot a long time ago.
And as far as the Nordics are concerned, look, what was it, day before yesterday? Norway refused to service a U.S. submarine.
That was a private company. Apparently, Norway said, no, 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 we'll still service them. But yeah, that
Yeah,
did
well,
happen.
they stopped at one gas station, and the guy said, "Fig, you
Yeah,
ain't
yeah.
getting gas from us." So
Right.
there is a groundswell of discord. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. There is. I hate to use the term elites, but that's what it is. Political elites that really are not. I don't think are representative of the populations that they purportedly represent.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Paul, we are out of time.
Okay.
Which they don't take my credit card, so I'm using the free version. So what can you do? Maybe that'll change too. The Visa and MasterCard seems to want to come back. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you have questions for Paul, for me, put them in the comments. We'll answer as best we can. Paul is a wealth of knowledge,
Yeah.
especially toward these days, the Eastern Hemisphere. So thank you for joining, Paul. Thank you for joining. Didn't have you on
Thank
for
you,
a
sir.
while. We need to make it shorter intervals.